Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a curated stack of sources and, well, we really try to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge for you. Today, we're navigating the intricate world of aviation. And look, we're not just talking about flying planes or fixing engines. We're digging into those essential, sometimes surprising, skills that make aviation professionals truly successful. You know, the skills that keep our skies safe and efficient. Our mission here is pretty straightforward. Cut through the noise, show you what it really takes to thrive in such a high-stakes industry, often far beyond the technical stuff. So I guess the question for you is, if you had to pick just one skill, the most crucial one for success and safety in aviation, what do you think it would be? Let's unpack that together.
Yeah, that's a great starting point. Because what you find in aviation is that no single skill really exists on its own. They're all interconnected. These complex abilities, they layer on top of each other, creating this incredible mosaic of safety and competence. You can almost picture it like a perfectly choreographed dance, maybe, between human intelligence and very advanced machines. Every step depends on the one before it. A misstep anywhere can ripple right through the whole system. Understanding that whole interaction, that holistic view, it really gives you a deeper appreciation for the quiet professionalism behind every flight you take.
Absolutely. And, you know, when you first think aviation, the immediate thought is probably technical skill, right? Technical mastery. And yeah, you'd be right. It's absolutely foundational. For pilots, we're talking an incredibly deep understanding. Aerodynamics, complex navigation systems, weather patterns, meteorology, precise flight planning, and that huge list of emergency procedures that have to know cold. They train constantly for just normal conditions. But here's where it gets really interesting. The true test isn't a smooth flight at cruising altitude. It's when things go wrong. Think about an engine failure, totally unexpected, at 30,000 feet, or flying through a sudden, really severe storm that pops up, or maybe having to adapt instantly because air traffic control gives you a last-minute change. That's when their technical knowledge is truly pushed to the absolute limit. But it's not just the pilots. You look at aircraft maintenance technicians, the technical demands there are just as high. They have to master everything. We're talking intricate hydraulics, cutting-edge avionics, the actual mechanical structures of the aircraft. It's incredibly complex.
It really is.
And their job is basically troubleshooting, often under immense pressure, you know? There's a departure clock ticking away.
Yeah, that pressure.
And they need to diagnose the problem and safely get that plane back in service. It's an art form, really. And then you have air traffic controllers. Their technical skill involves this almost, superhuman level of situational awareness, interpreting radar accurately, prioritizing dozens of aircraft at the same time, one mistake, one little overlooked detail.
It can cascade.
Exactly. You can have immediate, severe consequences, not just for one plane, but for the entire region's airspace. So yeah, technical skill is the bedrock, no question. But, like you said, while it gets you in the door, it definitely doesn't tell the whole story.
You've really hit on something crucial there. Technical skills, yes, they're the prerequisite. You can't operate safely without that base understanding. It's non-negotiable. But what often gets missed, I think, is how even the most sophisticated automated systems, they still rely heavily on human oversight, human interpretation. The machine might spit out data. It might even flag what it thinks is happening. But it's the human, the pilot, the controller, the technician, who has to understand the context, decide how to respond, and critically articulate why a certain action is the safest choice. Without that human judgment, the tech is just, well, it's just tech.
And that leads us perfectly into this whole area that, frankly, has roots in tragedy. I'm talking about human factors. Many of you have probably heard of crew resource management, CRM, but maybe not its origin story, which is, well, it's chillingly important. CRM wasn't dreamed up in a lab somewhere. It was a direct, hard response to the Tenerife disaster back in 1977.
Terrible day.
One of aviation's absolute darkest. A runway collision. 2 Boeing 747s. Over 580 people lost their lives. And it wasn't a mechanical failure.
No, it wasn't.
The investigation uncovered this devastating chain of events. Miscommunication was a huge part, but also a really rigid authority gradient in the cockpit. The first officer apparently felt unable to truly challenge the captain, even when he had concerns.
That hierarchy issue.
Exactly. Combine that with poor decision-making, likely amplified by stress and maybe some time pressure, it was catastrophic. CRM was born directly from those lessons. It fundamentally changed flight crew training. It teaches crews to actively share information, to challenge decisions respectfully, regardless of rank, and to operate as a team where every voice matters.
Critically important.
It's a global standard now, and you really can't calculate how many lives it's likely saved since then. And building on that idea is aeronautical decision-making, or ADM. This is more about a structured way of thinking through complex situations, meticulously balancing the risks involved, evaluating every bit of weather information, calculating fuel needs down to the last drop, and always having backup plans. Contingencies.
Planning for what could happen, not just what should happen.
Precisely. And it's not just pilots using ADM. Controllers use it, ground crews use it. It's about minimizing errors through a really rigorous, thoughtful approach to every single variable.
It is sobering, isn't it? That it often takes such a terrible event to force a fundamental rethink in an entire industry about how humans interact. Before Tenerife, like you said, the main focus was really on individual technical skill, the ace pilot idea.
Right.
Afterwards, it became blindingly obvious that the biggest risk wasn't always the machine failing, but human fallibility, things we all experience. Fatigue, stress, maybe overconfidence, simple distraction, a breakdown in communication. What's fascinating, though, is how aviation then integrated psychology and even sociology into its safety protocols. It shifted from just fix the broken part, to proactively managing human limitations.
That proactive approach seems key.
It is. It highlights that the strongest safety systems are the ones that actually acknowledge we're human, we make mistakes, and they build in ways to catch those mistakes, to mitigate our inherent imperfections.
Okay, so if technical skills are the foundation, and human factors like CRM and ADM are this critical safety net, then what about soft skills? These often feel overlooked, but they are absolutely the glue holding everything together in aviation. Think about communication. Aviation English is the global standard. Why? Because misunderstandings, even small ones, have literally caused accidents.
Clarity is everything.
Exactly. It's not just about speaking clearly, it's a specific vocabulary, the phonetic alphabet, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. That's not just for show, it eliminates ambiguity. Imagine trying to distinguish B from D or T over a noisy radio connection.
Impossible sometimes.
Right. So every word needs to be clear, concise, unambiguous, and delivered calmly. And teamwork. Well, nobody in aviation works alone. It's impossible. Pilots coordinating seamlessly in the cockpit, maintenance techs working together on complex repairs, controllers handing off flights smoothly between sectors. It's all this intricate, coordinated effort.
A true system.
Definitely. Then there's adaptability. Things change constantly. Weather shifts dramatically. Unexpected maintenance issues pop up. Global events disrupt everything. Aviation pros have to adapt, and they have to do it instantly, efficiently, and always safely. No room for being rigid. And let's not forget stress management. It's just part of the job description, really.
Comes with the territory.
Whether it's hitting severe turbulence at 35,000 feet or dealing with a hydraulic leak on the ground with a plane load of anxious passengers waiting, handling that stress effectively is vital. It affects decision-making, communication, everything. And finally, continuous learning. It never stops. Aircraft get smarter, digital systems become more complex, regulations change. You have to keep learning just to stay current, let alone safe.
It's funny we call them soft skills because honestly, they are incredibly hard to master consistently, especially under pressure.
That's a great point.
Reading a checklist is one thing. Respectfully questioning your captain's decision when you're both facing an emergency adrenaline pumping. That's a whole different level of difficulty. And what's really interesting is how these skills aren't just talked about. They're actively trained and simulated.
Right, and in the simulators.
Exactly. High-fidelity simulators where they recreate stressful scenarios. Stress management isn't just, take deep breath. It involves specific psychological resilience training, how to maintain clear thinking when everything seems to be going wrong. It's that invisible framework, as you called it, that makes sure that technical brilliance can actually be applied effectively when it matters most. And recruiters, they know this. They're often looking just as hard, sometimes harder, for these soft qualities as they are for pure technical ability. They know you can teach procedures, but teaching leadership under fire, that's different.
Okay, so beyond these specific skills, technical, human factors, soft skills, there's also something else. It's like a unique aviation mindset. This isn't just about what you do, but fundamentally how you approach every single task. Discipline is huge here. Following checklists meticulously every single time, even if you've done that procedure hundreds, thousands of times, it's non-negotiable.
It becomes ingrained.
It has to be. It's not just mindless repetition. It's this deep respect for procedures that have been proven over decades to enhance safety. And attention to detail. Oh, absolutely critical. It's noticing that tiny warning light flicker when maybe it shouldn't, hearing a faint sound that's just slightly off, spotting a minuscule crack during a pre-flight walk-around.
The small things matter.
They really do. Often those tiny details are the difference between a minor issue and a potential catastrophe. Time management, too, is essential. Aviation runs on incredibly tight schedules, and for good reason. Delays aren't just inconvenient for passengers.
No, they have knock-on effects.
They're costly, and they can actually introduce safety risks if things get backed up or rushed. Precision matters. But weaving through all of this, the absolute golden rule, the core principle is safety-first thinking. Every task, every instruction, every single decision has to be viewed through the lens of safety. Above all else, always.
Must-sees.
It's not just a poster on the wall, it's a deeply embedded culture. If something doesn't feel right, doesn't seem safe, the expectation, the requirement is to stop, report it, reassess. Doesn't matter how inconvenient it is or what the pressure is. That culture, that unwavering commitment to safety, that's the ultimate backbone of the whole industry.
It really is a profound cultural aspect. And what's insightful here is how it's not just about training individuals to be careful. It's about creating this collective understanding, the shared value, where safety isn't just one priority among many. It's the priority. It's fundamental.
Right.
And that proactively shapes behavior. It moves the whole system away from just reacting to accidents after they happen, toward predicting potential issues and stopping them before they even develop. It's that mindset that lets this incredibly complex distributed system pilots, controllers, maintenance, ground crew function like a single cohesive unit focused on that shared goal of safety. It transforms a group of skilled people into something incredibly reliable and, frankly, trustworthy.
So, okay, we've talked about all these different skills and the mindset. How does this actually look in the real world? Let's maybe ground it with a couple of examples. I think most people remember the miracle on the Hudson back in 2009. U.S. Airways Flight 1549.
Captain Sully.
Captain Sully Sullenberger landing that Airbus on the Hudson River after a bird strike took out both engines just after takeoff. Now, why was it a miracle? It really wasn't luck. It was an incredible display of skill under unimaginable pressure. You had Sully's instant technical grasp of the situation, realizing they couldn't make it back to an airport.
His assessment was immediate.
Flawless crew resource management with his first officer, Jeff Skeels, rapidly evaluating their dire options. Calm, crystal clear communication with air traffic control. And decisive aeronautical decision-making to choose the river as the least bad option. All those skills we've talked about converging in those few critical minutes saved 155 lives. It's just a powerful, real-time demonstration of everything working together.
It truly is. A textbook example, sadly born from emergency.
Or think about maintenance. It doesn't always get the headlines, but it's just as critical. So many devastating accidents throughout history, when you trace them back, originated with overlooked details in maintenance. A tiny crack missed during an inspection, a wire secured incorrectly, a part installed improperly.
Attention to detail is paramount there.
Absolutely. The difference between a rush job and a meticulous by-the-book inspection can literally mean hundreds of lives saved. It just hammers home why that intense focus, that attention to detail, isn't just a skill for a technician, it's a core, life-saving habit they practice every single day. These real-world events, they're not just dramatic stories, they are pertinent reminders that these skills aren't just items on a checklist, they are ingrained habits that save lives.
And those high-profile examples, like the Hudson landing, they really validate the industry's whole training philosophy, don't they? But what's also insightful is that even after such a success, the industry doesn't just pat itself on the back. They meticulously analyze everything that happened.
To learn even more.
Exactly. How can training be improved further? How can the human-machine interface be made even more intuitive? How can procedures be refined? It's this relentless cycle of learning, refining, evolving, never being satisfied, which I think raises an interesting question for you listening. What other industries, maybe even your own workplace, could really benefit from applying these kinds of integrated skills in this deeply ingrained safety-first culture?
Yeah, that's a great question to ponder. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we've really journeyed through the whole spectrum, from that bedrock of technical mastery needed just to operate, to the human factors like CRM that act as critical safeguards against error. Then those vital soft skills, communication, teamwork, adaptability that bind everything together especially under pressure. And finally, that overarching aviation mindset. Disciplined, detail-oriented, and always putting safety absolutely first. So, if you're thinking about a career in aviation, or maybe you're just fascinated by how it all works so reliably most of the time, remember, it's not just about the machines and the procedures. Focus also on building your communication, your ability to adapt, your decision-making clarity, and how you work within a team. Those are the qualities that truly set the professionals apart.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with, building on that idea of broader application. As you reflect on our discussion, which of these essential aviation skills do you personally think is the most underrated in your own field, or even just in daily life, and why? Because when you connect it to the bigger picture, it becomes pretty clear these aren't just aviation skills. They're essentially blueprints for high performance, for reliability, for excellence, in almost any environment where the stakes are high. There's always more to learn, isn't there, about how true excellence is not just achieved, but how it's sustained over time.